As a wise TV character has said many times, there is no such thing as coincidence. And in the real world, it definitely feels that way at times because we've all seen or heard things that may seem coincidental on one side and yet feel like there's something much more. The century as we know it right now has been rife with such coincidences, from the most basic to the most ironic to the most shocking and beyond. But what are they exactly, and what do they all mean? Well, join me as I reveal to you the top 10 creepiest coincidences of the century so far. Be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Number 10. The Comet Meteor. For the record, you call this name Comet so you can see where this particular coincidence falls into place, literally. Because within the last 20 years, there have been many rocks from space that have either landed on Earth or have burned up in the atmosphere. But in truth, few of these are worth mentioning. But one time, a man with the last name of Comet realized that there was a hole in his roof. And when he went to check and see what exactly had happened, he had found a small 88-gram meteor had hit his house and caused the leak. Naturally, him and his family took pictures with the rock and then started talking about it with others because of the coincidence that was right there. I mean, come on, how weird is it that a meteor hit a family's house that had the last name that sounds like Comet? This will be a topic of conversation for some time, no doubt. Number 9. Devon Sawa's Final Destination. The film Final Destination was one that featured a young adult played by Devon Sawa who had a vision that the plane he was flying in was about to go down, and as a result he decided not to fly on it, saving his life, the life of his friends, and putting them right in the crosshairs of death as it tried to kill them one by one for missing their date with death. Now naturally, this started a whole franchise that made quite a lot of money. The film was released on March 17th, and 19 years later, Devon Sawa himself noted that he was going to be flying on that same day, and his flight number? 317. Yep, that is quite a coincidence, and naturally, he did not get on the plane, which was good because it did indeed crash. Nah, I'm kidding, actually he did take the flight and nothing out of the ordinary even happened. He was more than happy to tweet about it though, because that is a coincidence that many horror fans would have been dying to see if it did come to pass. Just saying. Number 8. Family Connection. This one is kind of a mind trip, so be ready for what's coming, okay? This all started with a man named Stephen Lee, who had just gotten married to the love of his life via a woman named Helen. Nothing out of the ordinary there, right? Except when the families of the two came together to hang out and show off some family photos, Helen's mother recognized someone in the photos. Who? Stephen's father, who had passed earlier in Stephen's life. Here is where the twist comes in. The reason she knew of Stephen's dad was because the two of them were engaged at one point in their lives. For real. At one point, the two were in Korea and wanted to get married. The problem was that her father wouldn't allow it, and thus the two broke up and drifted apart. The person she did get married to was the father of Helen. So yeah, that happened. Though Stephen was more than happy with this coincidence because through his new mother-in-law, he got to learn more about his own father. What are the odds? Number 7. Two-time hero. In China, there was a man named Wei Feng who happened to live near the water. One day, he saw that a man was drowning in the water near his home. So being a truly great person, he dove in and saved him. Nothing too big was made of it, and both men went on their ways and through their lives. Fast forward into our current century, and Wei Feng was once again at the house near the water when he realized that a child of about 8 was drowning. Despite his age, he went into the water and saved the kid. Now that on its own would be quite a coincidence that a single man went and saved 2 different people from drowning near his own home. But when he asked the kid's name, he found out it was the son of the man he had saved decades before. You cannot make this stuff up. Number 6. The Circle of Life. You have all likely heard of Life magazine. It is a popular spread that has been going on for many decades. In fact, the first issue of it was made on November 23, 1936. The first image that was within that debut issue, if you will, was one of a delivery room with a child being born. The title of the article was Life Begins. That particular life was the man George Story, who would go on to become a journalist. A nice little coincidence right there, right? But wait, it gets bigger, because in 2000, George died at just the age of 63. Plus, a few days before his death, it was announced that Life magazine would be ending after nearly 7 decades of publishing. So Life began and basically ended with George Story. To commemorate the irony, George's wife was the last person interviewed for Life, and the final issue came out the month after he died. Number 5. The Twins. You've no doubt heard the various stories about twins having a special connection, but how far it goes is one that many people have debated over the years for good reason. However, in the early 2000s, a 70-year-old man from Finland was riding his bike when he was struck and killed by a truck. A very sad ending. But here's where things got freaky, because just 2 hours later, another man was struck and killed on that same road about a mile away. The 2 men that were killed? Yep, they were twin brothers. And adding to that ironic coincidence is that the family at the time was not informed that the first twin brother was killed. So when the second brother went onto the path, he did not know his brother was gone yet. Number 4. Frightful Flight. Yep, it's another airplane story, but this one has a couple of twists that will creep out any superstitious people. You've been warned. One time during our century, Finnair had a flight numbered 666, and it went on and did a flight on Friday the 13th. Yep, that is real, and you can bet that a lot of people were not happy to be on that particular flight. Not that the pilot minded, he noted that it was just a coincidence for him. But here's another twist that'll definitely send shivers up your spine. The destination of Flight 666 was Helsinki, the capital of Finland, but the flight designation for that place was hell. They were never seen again. Okay, I'm kidding. They landed fine, and apparently Flight 666 has flown 21 times on Friday the 13th without any issue, but hey, it is only a matter of time. Number 3. Chris Benoit's wiki page. The tragedy of Chris Benoit is one that is still discussed to this day and is a harrowing reminder of the toll that professional wrestling takes on a person's mind and body. But in 2007, a person went onto his wiki page and noted in an edit that his wife Nancy had died. It was removed almost instantly because of a lack of sources. But just 14 hours later, the police entered Benoit's home to find him, Nancy, and their son dead. Eventually, the person who made the edit was contacted, and he said it was just a coincidence. But was it really? That is one heck of a coincidence, wouldn't you say? Number 2. Death-defying cyclist. Martin de Jong is a known cyclist, but he is also known for his death-defying luck. Not on his bike, mind you, but rather airplanes. He has so far dodged not 1, but 2 flights that were destined to crash or disappear, just because he had a feeling to take another flight. The ones he missed? Malaysia Flight 17 and MH370. Number 1. The Trump Presidency. When it comes to The Simpsons, they have a knack of predicting the future in ways that no one really expects, which leads us to the biggest coincidence ever in our century so far, them predicting the election of Donald Trump. They made this prediction during a future episode where Lisa became president after Trump. The showrunners and writers noted that this was beyond satire. They wanted to show someone who had the celebrity and ability to win the White House if people weren't careful. And sure enough, in 2016, he was elected president and was almost elected again in 2020. Just as coincidentally, The Simpsons made sure to voice that they wanted Trump to lose the 2020 election and helped rally people to go and vote so that they wouldn't get another 4 years of him. So what do you think? What do you think of this look at the coincidences that have happened to us so far in the 20 years of our new century? Which of these coincidences made you pause and wonder if there's something more going on with them? Which one sent a chill up your spine when you heard all the details? Do you know of any other coincidences that should be on this list? Let us know in the comments below. Be sure to subscribe, and we'll see you next time on the channel.